her hair. And as I was braiding the ends of her hair, I noticed that her hair was like that thick. And it was just a small portion, and it was a lot thicker than the weave that she was putting in her hair. It was good weave, but her hair was still way thicker than the weave. And I was braiding it down or whatever, and I heard the spirit say, when it's natural, it's gonna be a lot longer than when it's relaxed. And then it said, my mama hair would only grow past a certain length, relaxed. And then it was like, and my hair would only, I think there might have been emphasis on the fact that my hair would only grow a certain length, relaxed. And that, but I think it was more emphasis on my mom's hair, because I did go natural, and my hair, when I got out of the jail, while I was in the jail, I could pull my hair all the way down to like almost my nipple. And I remember, and then to the back, it was long. And I remember like seeing a long strand of my hair. Right now, you'll see it does not come down that far, but in the braid, it's a little different. But imagine me pulling my hair all the way down to there, and it was beautiful. And I remember one of the sergeants saying to me, when they had me in this little room trying to make me out to be a mental patient, and I had my puff ball like on top of my head, she was like, "Dang, you got a lot of hair." Like she had not seen that often with black women. And so, or maybe she has, but she realized, Jones got a lot of hair. Like, that girl got a lot of hair. And I did. I had a lot of hair. And so, but I did not have that amount of hair with the relaxer. And my mother did not have that amount of hair with the relaxer. And I saw my mother in the spirit world after she died, and my mother's hair is all the way down her back, and it's natural. And beautiful. But anyway, and there's been several times that I've had natural hair and visions, and God showing me my hair coming all the way down to here, all the way down my back, and had I not have went through the stress that I went through since I've been out of the jail, my hair would be down my back. And I relaxed it, and it fell out. So I remember I did my natural hair testimony, and I showed y'all how bad my hair had broken with the relaxer in, and how it looks now, how short it is, because the natural hair grew back, and I haven't relaxed it again, and all the relaxed hair fell out. So look how much growth of natural hair I have. Like, imagine if I would have if I would have been able, without being persecuted for my natural hair, imagine how long my hair would be now. It was like down to here, natural. So my hair would be draping right now. And that's spiritual, because you taking a person's soul, you taking their identity when you were persecuting us because of our hair, causing us to have to straighten it and burn it and things like that. But let me get back to the topic. I was braiding her hair, and it was very thick, and then afterwards she had a mohawk, so her braids went up into like a mohawk, and you could tell that there was something different about the texture of her hair and the weave, because her hair, it was braided, and somebody was like, "Oh, she can braid real good, like she must be from the hood." And the girl whose hair was braided, like, I guess she liked to fight, because most black women from the hood, like from the real ghetto, you will always find that one who has the reputation of being the one who always like to fight, always want to fight, and I'm personally not one of those women, but this young dark-skinned sister whose hair, I guess I was in, like, she had, like, I guess a little small reputation for being the type of girl who will try to pick fights with people. and to intimidate them and beat them up. And so I was like, okay, I need to get away from this young woman because I don't need to be fighting anybody. I was like, yeah, I don't need to be fighting anybody. And so like, you ever seen a black woman and her braids was like laid? Her braids was not laid. And the texture of her braids, even though she had just got her hair braided and it was done to the T, you could still see the woolly texture of her hair in the braids. So it was done, but you could still see that her hair was like wool. And you could see that when I was braiding the ends of it, her hair, when I said the one that was very thick, it was like wool. It was like wool. And after I had got done braiding it, because a lot of times you would think that, oh, once I braid it up real good, it'll be laid and then that's it. Because after her hair was braided up into the mohawk, there was like emphasis on maybe she had wanted to put some blonde hair in there, but she couldn't do the blonde. And then she did the regular dark color, and her hair in the braid, I could look down and see that it was like wool still. Even with the braid, you could tell what the texture of her hair was. And it wasn't ugly, but it wasn't what society would say is laid, like, oh girl, like, what's wrong with your braids? It was her hair texture. It wasn't necessarily anything wrong with the braids. It was her hair texture. Because any other race of people, and you do those kind of braids, it's gonna look laid. And so then I ended up with the young man, because we was coming out of these apartments. So we was coming out of these apartments, and they was calling her ghetto, and they were saying that she liked to fight. And I was like, oh, well, let me get away from this young woman, because just hearing what people were saying, she did not try to fight me. She was very sweet. She was beautiful. And the only thing about her was she was very excited about the hair. She was very excited about getting her hair braided. When she saw the hair that I had, she was like, oh, if you don't want the hair, I'll take it. Like that. And that was it. There was no violence. There was nothing about this young woman that was violent. But because she had dark skin and she had natural hair, people were they I don't know if that was the reason why, but they were telling me that she had a reputation of wanting to fight people and things like that. She was coming out of the apartment complex as they were saying these things about her, and I was right behind her leaving the apartment complex, and I was hearing these rumors, and I was like, well, maybe I need to get away from this young woman. But other than the fact that she was like, well, I need I'll take the hair if you don't want it. And then I was helping her braid her hair. Like I think she was putting it in, and then I was braiding it down for her. But other than that, she didn't attack me or anything. And after that, I recall a young man. There was a young man right after this, and I told you that he had the dreads, and he dressed, hip, and he had a little blonde at the end. He was like a little darker than me, or around my complexion, and there was a big open space where it was kind of like a bedroom and a living room. And he and I were in this living room, and I don't remember much because he was a very strong sorcerer. In this dream vision spiritual encounter, and he was a very strong sorcerer, to where he could have conversations with you. He could do things in the spirit to try to manipulate your mind to not remember. What it was that he was doing and what he was saying. But I do remember enough. And he was saying something about his job, and saying something, he was saying that he needed to get a job, and something about his mother. And he came to me and asked me if I wanted some hair. And he gave me the hair. He was like, oh, do you want this? And it was like the second time he tried to give it to me. And the hair was very long, and it was very brown. Like light brown. Kind of like the color of my hair. But I think a little lighter, I don't know. And so, at first I thought I would want it because I thought it was like bundles. Like, I was like, oh, you got some bundles? Like, let me see, And then, but I didn't really pay much attention to it. I was like, oh yeah, maybe in a minute, I'll look at it. But, when he asked me again and he held it up, he was like, don't you want this? And it was bundles. And then, so I went over to him and I was like, okay, let me see. And then I saw that it was rolled up like a bundle, but it was actually a wig. And so, and it looked like it was kind of like it might be synthetic at the roots. And then, so, and it wasn't a lace front. It was like one of them wigs that's, the hair all right there underneath and folded back, and you can tell it's a wig in the front. So, I was like, when I seen it and I opened it and saw that it was a wig, I was like, oh, no, I don't want that. I thought it was some tracks. I don't want that. And, then, so, after that, he was saying something like, oh, well, I gotta get a job. Or I got a job interview, or I got somewhere I need to go, or something I need to do, and something about his mama, or somebody. And so, I don't remember much about my encounter with him because he was a very strong sorcerer, and he could do things to try to get you to not remember things in your subconscious mind after you have had spiritual awakenings and things like that. He would do something to you while you were still in the spiritual state of mind to try to manipulate your membranes and things like that to make you forget whatever it is that you could see in the spirit realm. And that's what he did. So I don't remember much about it because he was a very strong sorcerer or wizard or whatever. And so devil, whatever. And so my next thing I remember was that he kind of stood off. I do still remember parts of my encounter with this young man, and he had kind of stood off to the side a little bit because he had brought me somewhere. He was telling me, oh, come with me or something like that, something about his job. Like he was trying to get a job or something, and I ended up it was kind of like a living room, but it really wasn't. Like, you ever been to one of them old churches and they got like the room you could walk into when you first come into church, and then it's like white floors and little tables maybe where y'all could eat somewhere in the church. Like, that's kind of like how it was, but the room was like kind of all white, and it had like blue, like some blue accents around it. And I remember, or I don't know if it had blue accents, but it was a woman. It was a big old fat lady. And I had my cell phone in my hand, or a cell phone. I don't know. I don't believe it was my phone. I believe it was somebody else's phone, but that I had it in my hand because I think I had got the phone from somebody else, or I had taken the phone from the young man or whatever. And I looked at the phone and I was like, somebody was telling me to take pictures of these two women that was there. So it was one woman, she had on white, I believe, and there was another woman, she had on blue, and she was like fat, like big and heavy set. And I was like, I said to the woman, like in the phone, the little phone, someone had sent a message, and they were sending me poses and telling me to make them model for me. Well, they wasn't really telling me to make them model for me, but they was telling me to get them in those poses. They was like, get a picture of And I had somebody take pictures of me while I was naked at a man named Larry's house, and I did not know, because I don't know, I believe that I was drugged, because I had asked him to use his phone, and when I went in his phone, he had pictures of me with my legs open, and I still have my clothes on with my legs open, and he had came on the floor and got pictures of my butt, lift up my skirt, and this was before I went to James Harris' house, and he had pictures of my butt and my vagina, and I did not feel him doing this at all, but that just reminded me of that. But anyway, so I was the one talking about getting the pictures now, because in the vision of the dream, I had the cell phone, and someone had sent me a message, and they said, there was like, get a picture of them and like with their panties hat around their ankle or whatever, you know. They was telling me, oh, get the girl with her dress on and leaning back like this, and had the panties hanging off her ankle, and then put the panties like by the chair, and at first I was telling them to do this. I was like, all right, come here, girl, come here. Like, I was telling the girl with the white on, I was like, come here, okay, sit like this, turn like this, do like this, lean back, all right, good, like, and I was doing that. And then the big girl had got in the chair, and I had the big girl with her panties around, like one of her panties around her ankle, and then I had put it up under the chair, like, you know, the posters was telling me to make them do. And she was like an older woman, like an older black woman, and they both, I think, was kind of older, but the other one had got the hell on. The one with the white on had got the hell on, and the big girl was sitting right there, and I had gotten a message telling me to take pictures of them like that, and it was them already telling me to take pictures of them like that. And then I guess, I don't know if I would send it to the person on the phone or whatever, but they was the ones telling me to get pictures of the women like that. And so I was like, okay, well, let me get pictures of them. And then I told somebody, was like, they sent me one telling me to get a picture of her from behind with her panties down or whatever, around her ankle, while she was in the chair. And I told her, I was like, go right there and turn, you know, like this, and then put your panty like this, and you know. And then when I said that, like, was and I had her sitting on the chair with her panty down and everything, and then I was taking a picture. Now she started feeling funny, like, oh no, like, and got up. I was like, oh, come on, you don't want to take the picture? Come on. Then what they want to see? Come sit down, take the picture. And it was like this how I was acting, like, you know, like, come on, take the picture, come on, you know. And she was like, no, I'm good, I'm good, like, very suspicious, like I'm like, actually, like somebody was doing something to her that she had been trying to do to somebody else. And so she was like, oh no, I'm good. And the young man was standing off in the living room, like in the open living room area, but he was off afar, kind of looking on what was going on, and it was almost like he had something to do with it, you know. But because he had brought me there, and so I was like, okay, well, they gone, they don't want to take the pictures. And where she had got up and moved away, I believe, or she was still right there, I don't know, but she didn't want to take the pictures. And so I looked over to where I had her sitting when I was telling her to turn her back, while I was trying to get her to sit, telling her to turn her back and pull her panty down so I could take the picture of her in that position on the chair. She had on a long dress, but still trying to get her with her panty down. You know, this is what the people on the phone was telling me to do, and it was not my phone. So then I looked back to that area. I had looked back to the area. I like glanced back to where the chairs were, because it was a bunch of church chairs, like a bunch of chairs that look like they belong in the church, like where you be sitting and eating in the church. And when I look back or whatever, where she had been sitting, because she was gone from that area, I saw wood, like, you know how you see them little trees that's like about that thick? I saw 2 trees, one going this way and one going that way, and they was connected. And the one going this way, I believe, was shorter, and the one going that way was long, and they was like logs. And they had been propped up a little bit, very low, like not high, but very low, to where you could sit on them. And they were propped up for them to sit on, and there were people from a tribe. There was a man, and I had saw this like a visionary of this in this church room, and where they would eat and dine and things like that. But he had a spear in his hand, and he was dark. His skin was dark, not really like dark sun black, but it was dark. And he had these little ones with him, and they looked like him. And I think one of them was like a little boy, and he had the bald head, and then he had a bald head, and he had little ones with him, and they were of the dark complexion as well. And he was sitting down on these logs that had been propped up as chairs for them, and the little ones were sitting down with him on the log, and he had a spear in his hand, and he was sitting with his spear like that, and he was just looking. And I seen him, and I think he stood up, but I looked away, and then I grabbed the catalog. But another thing about them is they were naked. They were naked, and they had something around their genitals to cover that. And they had little trinkets and stuff on it, and it looked like they might have had the little trinket around the arm or around the leg, but for the most part they were naked, and it looked like they spent time outside. And he had a spear in his hands, and the little ones was with him. And so and I think he might have stood up or whatever, and he was not very tall or anything like that, but he wasn't really pygmy short. He wasn't really, excuse me if that was the wrong word to use, but he wasn't really short either. And it was just them. It wasn't a whole lot of other people with them. And so then I had looked back to where this church area was now, because I was still in the church, but it was a black and white. He was in black and white. So he was in black and white, like this was olden time, I don't know, but, or sepia tone, and it was like he just, wherever them chairs was right there, he ended up right there with the little ones, and it was like a vision of this right there in this so-called church hall, because it looked like a church hall a little bit, but where they would dine and where they would eat. And then I turned back this way, and the rest of it, even all around the logs, was the church, or what, this little hall or whatever. So it was just a small little spot where the logs could take up. That's where he was, and they showed trees around them and a natural setting. And then I turned back this way, and I saw the building in white. And it was the same room that the young man had brought me to, where the women I had been taking pictures, and it looked like the little church reception hall, but it was all white with the little plastic white tables and the plastic white chairs or whatever. And maybe a rug over here, or a little cheap thin rug over there, like a tablecloth, but that was it. And there was nobody in there, and except for these women who they had told me to take pictures of, and try to get pictures of them with their panties down. And so, well, not to try, but to do it. And they was doing it until they realized what I was doing. And then I had saw a catalog, and the catalog was like a magazine almost, but I looked and saw myself I had on like a Xena warrior outfit, like a dominatrix sort of. It was leather, and but it wasn't like dominatrix. It was more like the Xena warrior outfit, but because it was kind of made out of the leather material, that's why I kind of said it was kind of like dominatrix a little bit. And I had my hands like this, and my back was turned, and I had my hair and some curls that came to about right here, like the big spiral curls, and you could not see my face. You could not see my face. And I had my hands up like this, and the little skirt was like very short that went around my bottom, and it was made out of like leather. But you couldn't see my cheeks or whatever, because the ad in the catalog, it was like I was on the front cover of a catalog, but it was almost like a magazine and a catalog at the same time. And so it was cut. It ended like right where the skirt was. And the outfit that I had on was kind of sort of tribal but American, to where it was made out of leather, and I was standing like this and I was like this, and I had my hair straightened or whatever, but it was curled, and it seemed like it still had a natural texture to it. And all you could see was my back, because it was a two-piece. And you could see like mostly my arms was out in my back, but there was more emphasis on my back, because my back is like, my skin tone is very light on the face. I have natural light hues in my face. But if you go and look at some of my videos where I'm sitting there and I'm naked, while I'm in Victoria's Secret, you can see my body is brown. My mother was a dark brown, well, not really dark, but she was a brown skinned woman. So regardless of who my daddy was or whatever, like, I have hues in my face that's light, but my body, I don't care how much I scrub, yeah, it'll be light, but it's still brown. And there were other like slots in the catalog, but mine was the biggest one. Mine was like that big. The whole page, from these little lines, like all the way over here, the whole page was me. And then there was other ones, little catalogs for other girls, but their pictures was not on there. And I was on there, but it was almost like it was showcasing me. And I was like this, but you just saw my back. And I wasn't like crusty or anything, but I knew it was me, because when I seen the back, when I seen the woman, because at first when I picked it up, I was like, what the hell is this? Because I'm taking pictures of them. Why did they look like me? I didn't take no pictures, and I was like, okay, let me see this or whatever again. And I took a close look, and I was like, that's me. And then I put it down like that. And I could tell that it was me, because my back is a certain color. And I don't see, I've never seen a white woman with the complexion that I have on my body. Like, because my back, I could tell by my back that was me, because my skin tone is so different. I've never seen a woman with my skin tone in the media, because from my facial complexion, yeah, I have seen women who might look similar to my skin tone, but if you actually was to look at my body like up close, I've never seen a black woman in the media with my skin tone. I've never seen a mixed woman in the media with my skin tone. I've never seen a dark woman or Dominican, Puerto Rican, or anybody in the media with my skin tone. And that's if you look at it very closely. So that's how I was able to recognize that it was myself. Because based off the hair, I almost didn't recognize it was me. Based off of the outfit, I almost didn't recognize it was me. My skin was very clean. So I almost didn't recognize it was me because, you know, when I didn't have a place to stay, you know, it was very hard. And, you know, I was clean, and I had to double check and see, like, oh, because I almost thought it was somebody else. Hold on. I almost thought it was somebody else. So I was like, you know, who is that? And then I looked and I was like, that's me. And based off of the quality of the outfit was very high quality. Like, it's something that you gotta have a really good stylist, you know, in order to have something that nice to wear, because it was fitted to perfection. And then the hair and the shoot looked very professional. But what really started me was the other girls did not have their pictures on there, and it was almost as if they were trying to use my image to draw in traffic, to get them business, and that they weren't gonna show pictures of their real self, but they was gonna use my body, pictures of my body, to get people to call them, and that they would be the ones to get the service and everything, that they would be the ones to get the service. But I was like, it was almost like a magazine too, like you had the front cover, but then it was almost like a call girl catalog too, but that the other numbers would be the ones being called, but that my image would just be used to promote the brand, to just draw traffic to the catalog itself, and then that it would use but that the other girls who don't show their picture but just list their numbers to call would be the ones who would actually do business with anybody who was calling. That I was just the model. That I was just the model for it, you know. And so I put it down, and it was also something very tribal about the way I was standing, like, because I had just seen the man whose skin was brown, and he had the spear, and he was out there with the little ones in what we would call the wild, and that's where they lived. And he had his head shaved bald, and one of the little boys, I think, was shaved bald too, and I don't